Daily risk management. Yes. So the topic for today is going to be daily risk management. I know when we think about risk management, sometimes it could be something, once a year, we're going to do a checklist, make sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's, or something that we do biannually or even quarterly. We're going to check in on the risk management side of our business, if at all. Once again, as you've seen in my previous videos, I've mentioned that risk management isn't something that people even discuss at all. But in this video, we'll be talking about daily strategies that you can implement. I've created a 5-step guide here on daily operations that we can start implementing, daily strategies, that we can start implementing into our business operations that will help you reduce risk and increase your profitability. Millions of dollars are lost due to avoidable risk. Even just for the cyber attacks alone, $4 million are lost per breach. So just imagine the other hidden risks that your business could be facing that could cause you to lose additional funds or even lose your business completely. And these are strategies that no matter the size of the business, you can implement today. I know oftentimes when we may look at our business and say, when I get to this certain point, I'll start doing this. When I get to this certain point, I'll start doing this. But even as a small business, you want to be able to start implementing these risk strategies. So when you do hit a roadblock, when you do have that cybersecurity breach, when you do have that but the supply chain disruption, you have processes, you have strategies in place to not only sometimes detect these before they happen, but be able to react when they do happen. So we'll be going into the different forms of risk, financial risk, the cybersecurity risk, and strategies you can start applying today so you can identify, see the warning signs of these risks before they even happen, and continue to put your business in the best position possible to be successful. So before getting into the step-by-step guide of how risk management can be incorporated into daily operations, I know a big question is, why does it even matter? Why does risk management even matter to be even implemented into daily operations, right? That's a very great question. That's a very valid question. And simply put, it can help your business avoid costly mistakes. It can help your business avoid costly mistakes and ultimately strengthen your decision making. And no matter the industry, most businesses go through the same common mistakes, which I've also written here. And these mistakes, these risks, you want to be able to identify before it's too late. But as mentioned previously, if you're only doing a yearly checklist, if you're only doing a biannual checklist twice a year, you're going to spot these issues and it might be too late. So when we're talking about common business risks, we're talking about the financial risks. So we're talking about uncontrolled spending. We're talking about probably poor cash flow management. If we're talking about operational risks, it could be different inefficiencies, different bottlenecks, different supply chain breakdowns. If we're talking about the cybersecurity risks that we discussed earlier, those are the phishing attacks, those are the data breaches, compliance risks, making sure you're following the industry regulations. The reputational risks. So those are the bad customer reviews or just the customer satisfaction in general. So these type of risks are very common, but honestly, a lot of businesses either don't even notice them or they overlook them. But you want to spend time, and honestly, you don't need an hour. You don't need an additional 2 hours to look at these on a daily basis. Sometimes it only takes 5 to 10 minutes. Yes, 5 to 10 minutes a day, just looking at these risks, looking at the potential warning signs of these things happening. You can prevent a lot of these from growing bigger to where it's definitely hard to come back from, and you may end up losing profits. If you're able to get in a sweet spot where you're able to spend 5 to 10 minutes a day looking at these, which we will discuss in the step-by-step guide, you'll definitely put your business ahead of the curve and prevent yourself from making costly mistakes. And also, once again, strengthen that decision making, and decisions become easier to make because you're making it from a calculated point of view. So now that we've discussed why risk management is important in our daily operations, now let's get into the step-by-step guide on how we can start daily risk management into our business. So now I've written down 5 core steps that you can start to implement daily risk management into your business, right? So step 1, You just want to conduct daily risk management. All this takes is about 5 minutes, right? And you want to ask yourself or your team, depending on what size your business is, basically three questions. What could potentially go wrong today, right? You want to kind of figure out the daily risks that your business face during the operations, no matter what industry your business may be in. You want to think about what could go wrong on a day-to-day basis. And then you want to understand, are there any warning signs of those potential risks? So what could go wrong, and are there any potential signs of those risks? And then lastly, you want to understand, what could you do to prevent those potential risks? For example, if you're running an e-commerce store, let's say, you want to check for inventory shortages. You want to see if there's any possible website activity issues that could be suspicious. You want to look at any possible shipping delays, right? So finance, for example, you want to check the cash flow reports. You want to check the pending transactions. So these are certain things that change on a day-to-day basis that you want to continue to keep your eye on in your business. And all that takes is 5 to 10 minutes, just asking yourself these questions. What could go wrong? Are there any warning signs? And then how could we prevent these risks from happening? By taking 5 to 10 minutes, by asking yourself these questions, or your team, you can start putting yourself in a great position by conducting a daily risk check-in. Secondly, you want to implement the risk controls into your daily workflows, right? So now that you've identified the potential risks, you want to implement the preventative measures into the daily processes, right? So, for example, if you have a finance team, you want to make sure you have daily cash flow tracking and then fraud detection alerts implemented. For cybersecurity, once again, two-factor authentication. You want to have employee training for identifying phishing emails that we often see. For operations, if you have a supplier, you want to make sure you have a backup supplier, because we know how things can happen with our supplier, and it can push our business. It can delay our shipping times. We want to make sure we have something in place for things when they go wrong in that industry or that field, in that risk control area, correct? And then we want to have real-time inventory monitoring. Sometimes on your business, you may say you have 10 in stock, but you may only have 5. You want to make sure those are kind of aligning, just so you're not overselling and under delivering. And then just for things like HR and compliance, you want to continue to just check in on your employees if you're at that point in your business, and make sure they're trained to continuously spot these different risks, and they're abiding by industry regulations and policies, right? You in a lot of these risk controls, you can automate them. So we're going into a season of business where AI is booming. So a lot of these things, they can continue to be automated, but you want to definitely just keep an eye on it. So that's what step 2 is all about. You want to implement risk control into your daily workflow. So once you've identified it, you want to figure out ways to prevent it, ways to control these potential risks from possibly happening and then causing your business to lose money or potentially go out of business. Step 3, you want to monitor and then respond to these early warning signs, right? So most of these risks, whether, as we've discussed, they don't usually just appear out of nowhere. There's usually some warning signs that, if you're well equipped, you can begin to identify. The main key is catching them early before they become major disruptions, before they become major problems into your business. So you want to be able to set up real-time alerts. You want to be able to check customer feedback and complaints. Oftentimes, customers, if we're able to look at their reviews, if we're able to honestly hear them out, they spot risk before sometimes people in our company, before we're even able to spot these risks. So we want to make sure we're listening to the customer feedback and their complaints. We want to track our supply chain performance and monitor the industry news for any external risk that could be happening. And then we know the weather is also something that potentially happens. So we just want to make sure we're keeping track of these things on a daily, so we're able to spot them. If we know a hurricane is coming next week, we know the certain things, the strategies that we have to put in place so our business can still operate under those disasters. So if you see, for example, if you see a sudden let's say a drop in your website traffic, you know certain things to look at. Is it an SEO issue? Is it some technical issues going on? Is it even a cyber attack? But you're able to spot these early if you start paying attention to them on a daily. So you want to be able to monitor these signs and then figure out ways where you can start to respond to those early. And by doing these monitor risk, whereas the real-time alerts that I've discussed, whether it's monitoring the industry news, this can help you stay above the game and act fast so you can prevent the potential revenue loss. And then once again, if you have a smaller business, it can be more detrimental and even losing your business completely. And step 4, we want to make sure risk management is a daily habit for your team. So if you're a team of 1, if you're a team of 10, if you're a team of 100, you just want to build a risk-aware culture. Risk management isn't just for the CEO of the business or the manager of the business. You want risk management to be a top to bottom thing. You want it to be a company, a business, wide habit that everyone is looking for any potential risk or anything that could happen within your business. They should understand that they are able to take ownership of these risks, and you want to encourage them to report the small issues. So there's tracking, they're paying attention, and equip them on the tools on how to handle these risk operations. Because a lot of times our companies, even ourselves, we can see risk, but we don't know how to handle it. So we want to make sure we're emphasizing that risk-aware culture amongst our business. We want to start meetings with a risk check-in. We want to even ask employees, because oftentimes the higher we get into operating our business and we start hiring employees, sometimes they're seeing risks that we don't even know about because we're not on the day-to-day operations of the business. We're looking at things higher level. We're looking at things 5 to 10 years down. So you want to make sure that you're creating that culture so you're seeing, or your employees are able to come to you when they do see those potential risks in your business overall. And by making it a daily habit, you'll create a resilient business. You'll create an adaptable business. You'll create a business that's potentially prepared for anything, right? So you want to continue to make it a daily habit. And this can take 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a super long hour every day. But you want to start doing these day-to-day strategies to put your business ahead of the curve. And step 5 is just rinse and repeat, right? So risk management, as the time goes, as we see AI, different things happening in the world, you want to make sure you're just strengthening these habits. So depending on the industry you're in, it can change, but this is just a high-level overview of things that you can implement today that can put your business ahead of the curve. So just to do a brief recap. Step 1, you want to conduct that risk check-in, whether it's by yourself, whether it's with the team. You want to continue asking those questions. What could go wrong? Are there warning signs of these potential risks? What can we do to prevent these risks? And then you want to identify those risks, and then how can we control those risks? So step 2, you want to implement those risk controls into your daily workflows, whether you have a finance team, a cybersecurity team, an operational team. You want to create the workflow that can help them prevent those risks from happening. So that's attacking those risks from a preventative measure. And then step 3, you want to monitor and respond to the early warning signs, because most of these, they are avoidable. But a lot of the common business mistakes we take for granted, we overlook. We say that's not going to happen in my business, and then before we know it, when we actually decide to pay attention to the risk, we're already either out thousands, millions of dollars, or our business is facing a potential shutdown. And step 4, we just want to build that risk-aware culture. We want to make risk management a daily habit for yourself, for your team, for everybody that has anything to do with your business, and you want to build that culture. And then step 5, continue to rinse and repeat. Once again, as stated, there are tools that you can implement today for these risks. I know for operational purposes, I've used Monday.com to kind of help the project management of different things that I've worked on. I know QuickBooks is pretty good for financial risk. Risk Watch is good for just any compliance needs. So there's definitely a variety of tools that you can incorporate that can help you in your daily risk management journey. But as of now, just step-by-step guide, the 5 steps, that's pretty much going a simple and effective way that you can implement those small and effective strategies to just kind of put your business in a different frame of mind, a different frame of thinking. So you're preventing those possible risks from happening. And once again, I do offer a one-on-one consultation where I can continue to help springboard you into that risk identification process, mitigating different risks, risk register auditing, and just audit risk policies. So definitely feel free to drop a comment if interested. Definitely feel free to drop a comment if there's any risk management topics you want me to kind of take a deeper dive into, no matter what it is. And I'll continue to just keep trying to shine light on the topic as risk management affects on how it affects our businesses, because it is, to me, very important. It's the make or break for a lot of business. So I want to make sure that is being highlighted. But once again, those are 5 simple strategies that you can use to implement risk management into your daily operations. Let me know how that works out for you. Let me know if there's anything you would add, or let me know if there's anything you would take out. And that is it for this video. As always, prevention is better than cure. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.